Hallo.
Hello? Wow. Wow, that's loud. I'm allowed to close stage 1 today. I feel like Sunday night 2015 prime time on ZDF television. I'm glad you're all here and interested in my little talk. Oh, I need the clicker. What am I going to be talking about? I'm going to talk about the digital transformation in educational work, empowerment of users. I'm going to speak about who am I doing this for. It's a question that I ask myself all the time, but before I do that, I'm going to present myself. Who of you has seen me online? Okay, that makes me a bit shy, but I'm very glad. So I'm going to tell you some things you might not know. I'm Gazelle. I'm a worker child, so I was one of the first with in the family with a university education.
Qualification?
I worked in recruiting. I hired lots of people, marketing people, logistics, bookkeeping, finance, all tech, software engineers, data engineers, all kinds of levels, CEOs, entry level. I hired them all. Thank you. And the last 3 years of my corporate career I spent in diversity and inclusion. And so I was in charge of the topic of diversity and inclusion in the workplace and anchoring it strategically in the workplace. And then I threw it all away and said, okay, I'm going to do internet. And that's what I have been doing since last summer. And there I do a mix of educational work and comedy. And that's going to be the topic. And okay, I thought the topic is digital transformation in educational work. So I do. It's about communities, it's about the empowerment of users. I think it's a very complex topic because this kind of work means lots of things to lots of people, and online we can find various ways of doing educational works. People do explainer videos. We saw Ezra does some fantastic journalistic videos with her team, and what I try to do is sneak it in, and I'm going to talk about my experience with the ambivalence that creates. On one hand, I'm the funny Gazelle who does comedy videos, but sometimes I also have hard topics that I want everybody to understand. So what exactly is it that I'm doing? What do I stand for? I'm trans. I'm a trans woman. And that means what I try to do is explain my transition a bit on social media and take people along. And I do that because when I was 32, that I'm actually a woman, I asked myself, what does that mean? The representation that used to be there for me before was Marius, has left for a year and comes back as Maria. But what did Maria do during all that time? She has to pay her rent. What is happening? These steps weren't really accessible to me in the German speaking countries, and I wanted to show all this without even knowing what was going to happen, because I was still at the start. But being trans in the workplace is interesting due to the problems with pronouns, changing your name, but also accessibility of toilets, or what happens if your ID card still has your old name, but the email app needs a new name. And I started working in that diversity area and doing educational work there, and I started posting these videos on LinkedIn. I said, hey, we need a woman's quota. And then there were male colleagues who said, but then we're no longer going to be hiring due to qualifications, or people who asked, would I still be able to get this job as a man this year? And I said, definitely not. thank God, thank you. And the people of LinkedIn found it funny as well. And that's how my educational career started. I took these topics from my daily life and transferred them to videos to try to sensitize people. And because I made the experience that nothing much would happen otherwise. Other people are pronouns and gendering in German. Some criticism of patriarchy. This video with the rye crisp bread, where there's veganism, intersectionality, but there's a lot of things left to talk about. And who is my community? Whom am I empowering? I am going to tell you who it is. My users, TikTok and Instagram tells me they're between 18 and 44. They're majority of women, and 82% of them are from Germany. The rest of them are from German-speaking countries or areas. And in my conversations with the people who follow me, I find out that they're women, they're queer, they're females, lesbians, intersex, non-binary, trans, and agender people. And these are the people I'm reaching with my content. And this leads me to the point of all this, of these talks and the people who I want to reach. And we're going to talk about what this does to me. How did I end up going viral? There's this situation. It's the COVID pandemic. We all have to stay at home. Some people like that more than others. I didn't think that it was that great. I've always been on stages and in theaters since the age of 16. And I said, okay, I don't have a stage. I'm going to start looking at this TikTok thing that everyone's talking about. Let's have a look at it. Millions of others did the same at the time. And that's how I started putting on wigs, saying funny things in the hopes that people would look at it and find it funny. And then one morning, I stood up. It was January 2021, and see that it's snowing a bit in Germany. So I'm stood at my window, and I have to think of my mum. I'm gonna take it like looking upwards with my double chin. I've got my blanket around me, and I'm going to speak into the camera and say the things that my mum would say. Herbert, it's snowing. We take the ski trousers. We have to cancel the barbecue. The trains aren't going to run. All this train is going to ruin everything. Only to notice after 30 seconds of filming that the snow is going to melt anyway. It's been seen millions of times. It was my little breakthrough on TikTok, and 2 years later I revisited the format, and you can see how Germans meet other Germans at the pool. It's one of my favorite videos. It's got a similar vibe, and I show the typical German person who's shown with catchphrases. I took the women in my family as an example. It got 10 million views, 1 million likes, and I think that's impressive because these are unique likes. These are 1 million people who saw this video and really liked it.
Thank you so much. I was so happy about that, but it did happen. A kind of community formed. People recognized themselves in these videos. If you've seen one of these videos, maybe you've kind of felt, okay, I was caught, I'm so German. Or maybe you thought, well, just like my mother. Many people say, you're just like my nan. But I'll take it. We all recognize something in this. We can join in the laughs. We can laugh about us a little. What I find important in my humor is it's not about someone, but that we laugh with each other. I'm just playing myself. I am just the person in the video. We are somehow that person in the video, all of us. So this creates a community that celebrates these videos, and I have lots of success with those videos, and I'm extremely grateful for that. But there are other ways of going viral too. I have talked about how my journey as a trans person is something I want to document and talk about. And there are situations in everyday life that are unpleasant for me as a trans person. For example, my passing, the way I'm perceived, is somewhat ambivalent, depending on kind of my daily mood or something. People might think I'm a boy, but I'm not. And what I've documented in this video, and this is another phase of my tradition, as you probably can't see, this was when someone asked me, hey, are you actually a man or a woman? And what I did in that video is take that person's nose and throw it away to kind of show them that's not something you ask. It's not a cool question to ask. It's not very funny either. Why is it actually relevant? Can you just address me with to address me directly in the second person or ask me for my pronouns? What happened? Almost 10 million views, 11,000 comments, mostly hate. People didn't like that. People said, bro, just say if you're a man or a woman. Bro, but which toilet do you visit? I was simply denounced for the skirt I was wearing, the dress. I went viral through hate comments. The more comments you have, to put it easily, the better you are in your performance. And in the other video, I talk about how I entered a bus. I take one of these seats in a group of 4, and the person in front of me, the way I passed them, cis male, mid-50s. He looks at me and says, oh, you are a beautiful man. These earrings are particularly nice. And then very loud in the bus, I said, I am a trans woman. And he replied, okay, I have nothing against that either. And I then thought, well, I didn't ask for your opinion. I didn't ask for your approval. And also to comment someone's appearance, random people in the bus, if he'd said, you are a nice woman, that's not okay. What the fuck? And assuming just for a second that, let's pretend that there was nothing to that. It was unpleasant for me because I'm not a man, I'm not a boy, I'm a woman. That's what I talked about on TikTok. Again, the community didn't understand. The comments are, bro, please stop playing the victim card. Other people might have beaten you up. Others wrote, actually, I think that you're very funny, but I do not understand this. Or, as much as I celebrate your videos, I do not agree with this. So you have to imagine me standing there, making humorous videos with lots of love and energy that many people find good and that talks to many people. And then I told them, FYI, I, as a private person, experienced a lot of discrimination. And then suddenly it's, ooh, no, don't tell us about that. That's not cool for us. I can't understand that. Be happy that you're not being beaten up. What kind of community is that? I wondered. It gets worse. What if others go viral together with you? So I grew and grew and got more and more well known. And then other trans women showed up and spoke up. I'm not showing the names because I'm not going to give haters free promotion, but up here you say Persia X. It's not worth looking at. It's just hate in those videos. Pure hate. It's not funny to watch. But Persia X took the time for 12 minutes to talk about how she was embarrassed for the trans community and how she was ashamed of my partner, who's also trans. And then she took another 27 minutes to talk about how what we do is a joke as a trans person. So within my community, within the trans community, people come to the front and say, you're not that trans really. Have you had all the operations? You don't really look like a trans woman yet, so you're not one. You're not sufficiently trans. People have picked up on that. We have a person here that said, this is a dangerous kind of trans activism because I don't always talk about the threats, dangers of trans identity. This person took 3 minutes to understand why Gazelle should stop. The video is called Gazelle, Please Stop. The person to the bottom at the bottom right wrote it kind of culminated this. She said Gazelle is so difficult, she doesn't really educate, and she gets her hormones illegally. You shouldn't follow her. These are lies. I've even made a video in which I put the prescription to the camera and said, oh, I'm getting hormones now. I had to put it offline because my address was on there. Shot in the head. It only happens once to you. And it had 500,000, well, forget about that. Anyway, these videos got millions of views. Millions of people see this. And what happens? These people then show up in my videos and discuss that how I am a complete fake. So these people creep into my timeline and say, you are a man, you're not trans, you're fake, everything is false, don't you know that? And TikTok works this way. As soon as these comments come up, it's reproduced in the bubble. So with your videos, you fall into a kind of hole, including together with videos in the future. And I literally lost followers this way. And I was actually earning my money this way at the time. So the trans community itself suddenly is part of the reason why it doesn't work for me as a business anymore.
Und dann habe ich einen Break.
And then I had a breakdown. I had symptoms for a stroke. I couldn't walk or speak. I had to go to hospital. That was quite a struggle too. I think that was the first trans woman that didn't have the ID card in the right way. So I had to really put up signs telling people to address me as a woman. After 3 days, I slowly got better. There wasn't a real diagnosis. So it seems like it was simply stress. And admittedly, it wasn't just a hate. There were other factors involved, private and professional factors. But it was too much. You make these funny videos. Everyone thinks they're funny. Then you have personal topics. And suddenly they are backstabbing you and saying it's not important what you're saying in your own reality that you talk about. And I just had to ask myself, for whom am I actually doing all this? Why am I doing it at all? Is it still worth it? Right. And now we're at the very bottom of the hole. We'll be getting out of it. And you'll go to the party with a light heart, I promise. So what have we learned? The title of the presentation is Digital Transformation, Educational Work, Empowerment of Users and Community Building. Digital transformation means enlightenment happens on social media a lot these days. But it also has an enormous power because all perspectives can be heard there, even those that are supposedly, let me call it, undemocratic or filled with hate. It's not without reason that a party like the right extremist AfD has so much success there, because that's how the social media works, just to take note of that. So what does educational work mean in terms of digital transformation? It means that I am standing here alone. I am being attacked on my own. Lies are spread, completely invented, about me as a person. There's not a company behind this or an institution or my business. It's very personal. I, as a personal person, am then over. I have to face the critics.
Das heißt, für mich stellte sich die Frage.
So, for me, the question was, what am I doing and why am I doing it? And at the end of the day, if I look at the users and the community, this is something that I had to think back to, because we know the hate are the loudest when we tend to say this wasn't good, and not when people say that was quite good. So what I was able to be happy about quite recently is the echo we had from print media, other media that said that what I'm doing is okay. I was at the Business Punk, and Tip Berlin said that I am part of the comedy elite with an open heart. I was booked for advertising campaigns, and which is a huge compliment as a trans person, with my representation, my optics, my passing. If I am used for campaigns, including beauty campaigns, that is rewarding. And also, let me add, Brigitte has nominated me for the Woman of the Year. This is a women's magazine in Germany. Wow. Thank you. That was learned the move. Okay, so a mainstream magazine such as Brigitte recognizes the work I do, and that gave me the energy as a confirmation of my work. And also what helped me get up again was to see that my videos create a community and that this community gives something back. It's not the hate that makes up the community and not the other conservative trans women, but my community are the people that really see themselves in the video and really appreciate me as a person. I spent 7 days in hospital, and it was hospital, but it was kind of funny. It was kind of nice because the nurses were so sweet to me. I said that it was difficult for me as a trans woman in hospital, but they did everything to make me feel comfortable. And inspired by that, I made a video because I love the nursing staff in the hospital. I kind of played them. It got lots of views and likes, and there was such an amount of feedback from nursing people, nursing staff, saying, it's so nice that you portray us in this way. Of course, we know that we are chronically understaffed. There's a lot of complaints about this, and yes, I agree. And lots of bickering, but they felt visible, and it's quite good what we do, they thought, and it's good to have this kind of feedback from the comments there. That was so beautiful, because that is what I want to do. My representation at the end of the day, my educational work from the very beginning is to show that here I am, the way I am. I can be a comedy woman, a comedian. I can be happy as a trans person. I can have a good life. And that is just the empowerment that I'm going to try to create with my users. I can raise certain issues that I want to talk about that are important to the community, issues that in my multidimensional discrimination experience are important as a woman. I can be a patriarchy critic, and I can talk to a community that is empowered and seen in this way, because at the end of the day, that's all that I want to do. I want to be seen and respected and accepted in my representation as a trans woman. And that is what I, in my educational work, want to do. Thank you. Thank you so much. And this community is diverse. I had to understand that this trans community can be conservative. They're not all completely to the left and progressive. There are differences within the community and a differentiation. So that applies to my community too, but I will keep on going until everything has been resolved. Well, that will be the end of my life before that happens, but you see what I mean. And I'm going to work for things to get better. And the question I had to answer, for whom am I doing this? The answer should be ultimately for myself and for all those for whom this is good, whether they are trans or whatever.